All right, everyone. Welcome back to the 580 show. This is episode 88. Little bit of a different format this week. Currently, just myself. We've got a lot of the guys that are typically on the podcast out of town on vacation. But a big week for strongman, for 580, and just a lot to talk about. In a few moments, I'm going to be joined by Tyler Perdue, who is running Clash of the 91's. And we're just going to highlight that show. We're going to go through it, talk about it. If you don't follow us on Instagram and you didn't see this week, we were able to add to the prize pool with horsepower. We're doing a little bit of a promotion with the pre-workout, and we're going to be able to give $500 and add that into the prize pool for the ladies this weekend at Clash of the 91's. So if you're interested, you guys can go to 580barbell.com, hit the pre-workout tab, and purchase horsepower right there. If you guys have any questions about our pre-workout, feel free to just DM us on Instagram, 580barbell, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have. With strongman this weekend, specifically with Clash, the 80's first pro show in Colorado this weekend. We did a preview show last weekend, myself and Cody Abel. I was dead wrong. I missed a lot of predictions, but it was an awesome show. Congratulations to Ben Donin, however you say his last name, from France. Kind of stole the show. I don't want to say not came out of nowhere, because he didn't, because I think everyone that knows him knows he's super strong and capable of what he did this weekend. But he put it all together and he won, and he won a world championship at Clash. So congratulations to him. Robert Hughes, CJ Kraus getting the podium, and everyone that competed. Obviously, I'm a little bit biased towards the lightweight class because that's the class I compete in. So I was jealously watching along every moment yesterday, and great show, awesome time. And just congratulations to all those guys. After that show, there was the 105's. My coach, who's been on this podcast before, Andrew Clayton, ended up winning the show, so he'll be hopefully heading to Hilton Head this year. Someone who's close to our gym and a friend of mine and a lot of people at 580, Eric Olmstead, ended up coming in 5th place in just an absolute stacked class for that division. So congratulations to Eric, because he's a friend of ours. He's trained at 580 quite a few times, and he's helped me out a lot. So it was fun watching that show afterwards too. So cool venue. There was the last OSG qualifier this weekend. I really didn't get to watch anything or look in too much into it, but just a lot of strongman around. And I just wanted to just kind of recap the 80's, talk about the 105's really quick before we have Tyler on. But yeah, if you guys are interested in supporting us, you can go to 580barbell.com. I really would like to have us involved in more shows, not just Clash, but just strongman overall, and be able to give back to the athletes. And the way we're able to do that is if our supplements are selling and our business continues to grow. So we have apparel up on our site as well. We have a flag, strongman. Saturdays are for strongman flag. You can see that under our gear section on our website, 580barbell.com. So, if you guys help us, you're helping the athletes of the sport. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to pop on here real quick. And yeah, so here's Tyler Perdue, and we're going to talk about Clash of the 91's. Make sure you guys buy the live stream. We'll post it this week. It's in Baltimore, Maryland. We're going to get into all that, but thank you guys so much, and enjoy my conversation with Tyler. All right, so joining me now, I got Mr. Tyler Perdue, fresh off the airplane, right?
Yeah, got back like an hour ago, man.
Yeah, right before you joined me, I was talking a little bit about the weekend, just kind of highlighting and talking about the 80's, the 105's. I'm biased towards the 80's because that's the class I compete in. So I watched every single moment of that. And I watched basically every moment of the 105's too. So how do you feel after this weekend?
Man, it was an awesome weekend. Tons of great athletes, showing how deep that 80 kilogram class is. I think people are finally starting to realize like super deep class, man. The 105's they show out like always. My body hurts, volunteering to show, sitting on a plane, kind of stiff, got that strongman body going on. But overall, it's a great feeling, man. Feel
Yeah.
awesome.
Cool. Well, you're not gonna have much time to recover because what you're on for. We're gonna be talking about Class of the 91s this weekend, your show in Baltimore, Maryland. So I think we're ending with what you said about 9 athletes confirmed coming. What's the venue look like first off in Baltimore?
Yeah, dude, I'm glad you asked. I'm super pumped for the venue. It's at a place called Power Plant Live. So, everyone has a place in their city where it's or their county where it's like this is where like concerts happen. This is where like events happen. This is that place. There's a huge screen, there's restaurants, there's bars, there's tons of viewing area. It's going to be happening. Baltimore is known for its like brick and cobblestone streets in certain areas, and the entire floor is going to look like that. And dude, it's just such an awesome venue. First time we're going to have a screen at one of our shows that's going
Nice.
to be able to have, I got to talk with our audio video people, but like it's going to have the scoreboard. Is it going to have like replays? Whatever we're going to have. But there's 2 floors to it, so the crowd can get absolutely massive and be watching from above and in front of it.
Well, that's awesome. I kind of like the like have the feel of something. So are you from Baltimore?
I've been here like 3 years,
Okay.
so
So something
not
that kind of
really.
like I like having that wherever the show's located, having like that hometown, wherever the show is, have that feel of okay, like you said, like the cobblestone of Baltimore, like that's a cool little touch,
Oh,
Um,
for sure.
and so our athletes, and you correct me if I mess anyone's name up, but we'll kind of mention them throughout the podcast. But it looks like we got Abby Deal, Ashley Crawford, Corey Butler, Katara Taylor, McKenna Neeb, who she's actually competed at one of my shows. Hannah Lindsay is Lindsay. I never
Lindsay.
I feel yeah. Olga Leonchuk, Stephanie Bisagano, and Nadia Stowers. So
Yeah.
I butchered some of the names. I apologize if any of them are listening, but definitely a really stacked lineup for this class. So I I'm excited to talk about the events and see how you think things are going to shake out on certain events and and yeah, just kind of talk about it all. Uh the first event is a Cerberus bag throw um for the world record. It says 2.5 pound jumps, 15-foot height. How heavy are we going to see these girls get? Like it starts at 30 pounds. How heavy of a bag are we going to see them throw over 15 foot?
Yeah. The 2 people that currently share the world record in this event are coming to the show. So I would love to see, north of 40. Both Nadia and Hannah are just absolute monster throwers. Both have cleared 40 over 15 in competition. Definitely wouldn't count out Olga either. She's athletic, she's powerful, she's been around. Same thing with Corey Butler. I'd say I'd count on seeing 40 plus.
Wow. That is impressive. I hope we see that. So currently it's Hannah and Nadia that have the world record. They
Yeah,
share
they
it.
shared at 40.
Oh, that's cool. Um, that's a pretty cut and dry event. 1 minute time, 1 minute limit per attempt, 2.5 pound jumps. I like that 2.5 pound jumps. See a 42 and a half, maybe 45.
Yeah.
Um, that's cool.
Even
This
for like the lower attempts under that, like I don't want to see 30, 35 and just have just ton of ties.
that's
Like I want there to be a little bit more of a game and strategy to play for them too.
yeah. Do you think we'll see people zero that event? Do you think a lot of people will clear the 30?
Yeah, I set it to where, and this I've been, 10 years of doing shows. I plan events where ideally they put into the thirds, right? The bottom third may not get it. The middle third might, do okay at it, and the top third are going to crush it.
Right.
So if there is a zero, these ladies are all impressive.
Oh yeah.
If there is a zero, I wouldn't be super surprised, but at the same time, man, I'd count on them all getting on the board.
Cool. Just looking at some of these weights, it's so impressive. Like the next event, it's a 550 yoke. Wait, so it's yoke, and then farmers. So it's a 550 yoke, a 650 yoke, and then 235 a hand. 50 foot for all of it. That's incredible. I mean, that's really heavy. Time, max time is 60 seconds, distance if not. That A lot of people are gonna finish that. 650 yoke, man.
Yeah, I always have an event where I'm like, this is the one that you're gonna have to dig deep to
Yeah,
do well. There's a couple people probably gonna cruise through it, and I'm gonna imagine this is an event, man, where every inch is probably gonna count. I made it unlimited drops for these ladies, so go the whole minute. Um, I would not shock me at all if there's some points being made or lost by a couple of feet.
sure. Um, I gotta ask too, how the next event is this an event order what's on Clash, or is it may the event order change from the way I'm reading it?
Yeah, so you're reading it right. The event order, due to a logistical reason, had to switch a little bit. So the log deadlift is actually going to happen second, and then the yoke farmers is going to happen third.
Okay. So that you just mentioned the event I was gonna ask you about. Did you come up with this? Who came up with this event?
Yeah, I wish I could take the credit for it. I saw this event contested at the Arnold Amateur. I want to say it was 2017, whatever year Novikov won the Arnold Amateur. This was on the final day, and I watched it, and as they released the event, I was like, man, like those are two really different events that require two different sets of equipment and like
Right.
strategy and how it's going to go. Because you got a lot of people that can press, but their deadlift kind of falls behind, and then the opposite. And I've been loving that event ever since, and watching all of the athletes go. There's someone in this lineup that was at that Arnold that did it. Anthony actually did this event at that Arnold.
Wow.
And I can't take the credit for it. I haven't seen it again since, but I certainly could not wait to find the right time to put this back in a competition.
Yeah. So it's a log, clean and press each rep. So you log, clean and press, and then log, clean and press.
Yep.
And then you deadlift for as many reps as possible with the remaining time, and it's an axle deadlift.
Yep.
Yeah, that is unique. And I'm really excited to watch that one.
Oh yeah, dude, I'm stoked for it.
That's the I think a lot of shows have that one that really sticks out at you, and that's definitely the event that sticks out at me. That's
That's
cool.
awesome, man.
And then circus dumbbell clean and press away. Clean and press, not press away. Clean and press every
Yeah.
rep.
Yeah.
How heavy of a circus are they going to be using?
So it's gonna be 140, 145 pounds. The big thing that they're all preparing for is it's actually a 12-inch circus dumbbell, not a 10-inch.
Wow,
Yeah, so it's gonna be a Bartos 12-inch dumbbell that they're gonna be pressing.
cool. What are we gonna look at for reps for that? What do you think? Like, if you had to see, like, you don't need to say necessarily who, but what do you think the number that's going to be at the top of that after that event's going to be?
If I had to say the number, if someone couldn't just do a certain number and call it because they've already won, I would say that there's a couple of women in this lineup certainly capable of 5+.
That's impressive.
Yeah, the American dumbbell record holders in this lineup too. So like I said, I think there's a couple of women that are capable of 5+ for sure.
Wow, that would be awesome. Now, having 9 athletes, is it going to be for every event? Are they going to go and do like it's just going to be one girl at a time? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I was actually talking to some people at the gym about yesterday that I think is interesting with Clash, and I don't know if many people know about this, and I'm curious if you do it for every event, but in the warm up and rolls meeting, you guys draw out of a hat a number. The athletes do. Will they be doing that too?
Yeah. So that's a great question. Typically what we do and what we have done since I can remember is they just draw a number out of a hat. Because what's not fair is if someone signs up first, they get an advantage. Some people they get paid later. The other thing is like what I've seen a ton of things used, and I don't like anything like that. I'd rather it just be fair and super just objective. And the easiest way to do that is here, pick names, guys. And the other part of that reason is for the format we're going, so it can be turned into ESPN shows. And they are being turned into ESPN shows. You can't have a crazy 5-hour ESPN special. So we have to make these shows run fast. And if we have historically not reordered athletes, and that's always gotten a lot of questions. And the reason being is because we're moving. If someone does really well and goes last, and then just happens to have a bad day on the next event, then they're going first. And then that's not fair because you just got like 3 minutes before you had to go. So
Right.
historically, we draw numbers and keep them. I'm going to try to figure out if I can manage within that time period the scores. And this is the first time anyone's hearing this, the scores on the bag toss, because that doesn't matter. You're in and you're out. It's a max event
Sure.
to determine the list for the day for the next event. And I'm going to see if I have time to reorder. I mean, I'm not going to test it out on the day of,
Sure.
but I'm going to see if I can let that start to dictate everything. But 50-50 could very well just be, hey guys, we're drawing numbers, and that's what it's
Yeah.
going to be.
I saw that firsthand in Jersey when I was at Jersey
Mhm.
Clash, and I was watching the 105s, and I thought that was the most unique and just all around fair idea that I've ever seen. Because, like you said, I mean, I'm just kind of reiterating what you were saying, but people get paid differently. People are in different financial situations. Having someone that signed up first, it's never really seemed fair to me.
Yeah, no.
Um, and I'm curious who came up with that idea and how did that come to like fruition?
That's 100% an Anthony thing.
Yeah, I was gonna
That
say
was
he just
his
did it one
idea.
day and it just kind
Yeah,
of stuck.
yeah, dude just came up with it, and then it stuck.
Sometimes
Uh,
it's like the little things like that that
yeah,
though that are just cool to me, like, and it just it almost too to go back to yesterday. The 80s seemed like it was fake. I will say, you guys, I don't know if you heard any of that, if you've heard about it yet, but like everyone that should have been matched together was basically matched
oh man.
together. And like I literally heard Anthony say on the live stream multiple times, like, remember, this is drawn out of a hat. This is not. It was just crazy how it drew, kind of. So
Dude, it was crazy, man. Couldn't have planned that one necessarily any better. Yeah, I verify it was drawn out of a hat. I remember DJ Krause being, man, it's so awesome that me and Mason drew the numbers to go against each other all day. And, it also speaks to how deep the class is of you guys. It's not like there's like three people in the class that are just head and shoulders above everybody. You have a show where you got 10, 12, 14 dudes that you could
yeah,
match a lot of people up any which way, and you're still saying the same thing.
yeah, that's
It's
that's a
crazy.
good point. I'll put it this way too, like, to expand on your point about our class being deep. So we did a Q&A last week because Cody Abel and I talked about the 80s and did a
Yeah.
little show. And I would say we probably had 50 plus responses of who people thought the podium was going to be. And 95% was in one way, in one order or another, was Lavelle and Ricky
Yep.
Pangonabon, and neither podium,
Yep.
which is
And that is,
just wild. Wow. I
oh,
didn't
for
get I
sure.
didn't get a
Like,
prediction right on my podium.
I think most people missed it. Like I would be lying if I didn't say that if someone had bugged me for who was my top three, I would have been hard pressed not to put those two in my top three.
Oh,
But it
100%.
also goes to speak of how the show goes. I'm not knocking, Tommy or Ricky at all. They're fantastic athletes and people.
Yes.
Um, until you've done a show that goes like this at this speed, and this isn't like obviously you have to be in shape, but there's so much more that goes into it with the strategy of what you can and can't do and how hard you can and can't push and where you need to go get points and where you could probably afford to not take as much of your energy to get that extra little bit because your recovery time isn't going to be there.
Yeah.
And I don't know, none of, like I said, no one at that show has done a full on show like that before. We had Aaron Talavera do a record for us, and CJ did a record for us. But it was kind of a learning experience, and that adaptation makes a
Yeah.
big difference. Plus, man, it's just deep.
Yeah.
Like
You
it's not
saw
a, it's
you saw the chess game start in it on on the event one when Ricky passed up a chance at a sole possession of a world record on the axle.
yeah, man.
And I thought he had it. I honestly, I mean, he knows himself way more than I do. Um, but his three, whatever, 35 was
335,
really
just
good.
yeah, man.
Um,
The word I always use for that is he just like disrespected that weight.
yeah, it was
Uh,
crazy. It was crazy.
like, yeah,
I
me
when
watching
he
it right there,
pressed
like,
it, when he
oh,
pressed it, I thought we were going to see 355 plus. Like, really,
yeah,
I
dude.
did.
Yeah,
Because
if he had said throw more weight on there, whatever he said, I'd be like, he's probably gonna get it. It was just that kind
yeah,
of day. That
yeah,
kind of goes like, I don't know how he's feeling or whatever, but is it worth that extra energy
Sure.
for that
And
one
it's
point?
unfortunate because he basically had the podium wrapped up and to cramp on that last event like that and just it was kind of a freak accident, and but it's that fast-paced show,
Yeah.
Colorado,
The altitude.
altitude. Could you now, how long were you there for?
I was actually in Colorado for an entire week.
Oh,
Uh,
okay. So when you get there, I've never been. Does it affect you?
um, I've definitely lifted in Colorado several times.
Hmm.
Excuse me, in Denver. Does it affect you? A little bit, but it's not a super noticeable thing until you've exerted and you're trying to recover.
Yeah.
Um, I was that's the only time you actually notice. Like you don't notice it walking off the plane. Like you don't notice it just hanging out. You don't really
Notice it when
notice
you're
it.
doing 5 events in 2 hours, huh?
Yeah, then it
Yeah.
catches up to you.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm sure. And I'm sure it affects people differently too. But
sure.
yeah, I was just interested to I've never been, but I hear about it so much. Um, but back to the 91s, kind of got off track there. But the next event, too, another really interesting one. So it's Cerberus sandbag to shoulder. And these weights are impressive. First off, they're getting 90 seconds, but the weights these ladies are attempting in order is a 200, 240, 265, 300.
Yep.
And it's a little bit of a different scoring system. So you get points for lapping on each one.
Hmm.
Okay. So like it says like the 200 bag, you get a point if you lap it and 2 points if you shoulder it. Then
Right.
240, 4 points if you lap it, 8 points if you shoulder it. 12 points if you lap the 265, 25 points if you shoulder it, and then the 300 is 38 points if you lap it and 100 points if you shoulder it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's cool. So how do those numbers come to fruition? Like how do those numbers come about?
Yeah, man. I spent days. Anyone that knows me, like I can usually figure things out logistically pretty quickly. I spent days trying to make these numbers make sense.
Hmm.
My initial want was I don't want someone to sit there and lap a 200 bag a bunch of times and beat someone who shoulders a 265 bag. Right.
Sure.
So I was like, okay, if we get a point for this, some people get on the board. You're not going to lap that bag 30 plus times, in the time that you have.
Right.
Um, and then I was trying to figure out, okay, so I want a lap of a heavier bag to be even, if not slightly more than a shoulder of the bag before it.
Sure.
And then
So
I start with the lower one, and I just started making the numbers work. I knew that I wanted the 300 bag to shoulder to be worth 100 points.
yeah, that's cool. Like, oh, what do you think the strategy is going to be for these girls?
Because of there's a caveat in the rules. I don't know if it made the website. You have 30 seconds from the time it starts to actually lap a bag. If you don't lap a bag in the first 30 seconds, then your time is just done. You're just out. And that's to stop someone from trying the 300 bag for 90 seconds and not getting it up, right? Hey, let's
Yeah,
get on the board. The strategy, I think a lot of these women are going to pick some of these middle bags and try to just go. The difference can be the order, depending on who's going. I would imagine they all kind of have an idea of where they should fall. And maybe if someone's right there pushing a little bit harder, but I think there's going to be a lot in that 240 range.
yeah.
I think there's going to be some 265s, and I have talked to a couple of these women personally that have all but assured me they're pretty confident they can get that 300-pound bag to their shoulder.
That was my next question. I want to see it on the stream so bad.
I
I
want to
want to
see
see
it
it on
too,
the
man.
stream. Um, Speaking of that, we'll be posting the stream all week. Make sure you guys buy it if you're listening to this right now. Just ADL, buy it. And we'll be sharing that all week because I'm sure you are too.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
but I really so sandbag to shoulder just went viral with the CrossFit Games. I want to see one of our girls from Strongman get a 300 and shoulder. I want to see multiple. I think
Yeah,
that
man. In the middle of a show. Wait, they got the 265 too. That'll go over the
that'll go over that
250.
250.
Yeah. And they're
Yeah,
not gonna have laces. No, they're not gonna have grip shirts or anything like that, man. That 250 was absolutely impressive. I would never take anything away from that. But I definitely think there's some women that are gonna be able to put at least a 265 on their shoulder.
Well, let's see it. I hope so. I want that
Yeah.
300 bad. I want to see someone do
Okay.
it. That's awesome. But like I said, I mean, that's the 5th event, which is crazy. So let's see it. I'm excited. And we're finishing with stones, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So
Never.
stones, uh, it's the Queen of the Stones. I like that name. Stone loading event, 48 inches, over bar, 250 stone, right?
Yep. Just same format we've used for ever since Clash Finals is, back and forth, passing back and forth. Your reps are cumulative no matter how many people, fall out on the other side of you.
Yeah.
And some things that people don't necessarily hear at home, and if you haven't been to our shows, it'd be really hard to know. But the goal with this event is to move. It's not to sit there and wait. So once the stone lands on your side and it settles to a reasonable degree, like your hands are on it. You don't get to turn it around and move it, but your hands are on it. You have 15 seconds to actually put it in your lap. If you don't put it in your lap in 15 seconds in this event, you're done. And then you have 30 seconds total to get it over the bar. If you miss, so if the stone goes from your lap and then touches the ground for any reason, you're also just out.
Wow. Wow. I think this format a lot of people like.
Yeah, dude, it's super exciting. And we it hadn't really gotten a lot. It happened several years ago, but it hadn't gotten a lot of attention
Yeah.
until the finals. And then it's almost like it's hard to go back to doing stones any other way because this is just it's super entertaining to watch. And it's also like it would have been hard to imagine having a 105 guy do a 350 stone for 14 reps. Like that just sounds crazy. But at
Right.
Clash Finals, that happened twice. Like this actually, it seems to bring the best out of people in that work capacity, and just looking at the other person loading the stone back to you.
Yeah. It's cool too
Several guys have
because
hit that 350 stone for.
I'm sure from your vantage point as someone that like is directing the event and making sure that everything logistically flows quickly. It seems like it's pretty efficient as far as the timing of it too. You know, I'm sure that helps.
This one is a little bit less efficient time wise, actually.
Really?
Then, yeah, they like if you have 10 people, this is a little less efficient time wise because it's not just a minute per competitor.
Sure.
Like you could be going for several and several minutes, but it's one of those. We'd rather put on the best show for you guys,
Yeah.
best experience for the athletes. Like if we're gonna sacrifice some time for that, that's totally worth it. Um,
Sure.
and actually, this is also a 20-inch stone that these women are going to be lifting, which is,
Wow.
something I'd say it's a 12-inch lug, it's a 12-inch dumbbell, it's a 20-inch stone. These women they're the perfect blend of size, athleticism, power, like all of it. And told them, hey guys, you're going to get a 20-inch stone. And everyone was happy. They didn't want an 18-inch stone, which is the typical 250. They
Yeah.
were stoked when it was going to be 20 inches.
Well, heck
And
yeah.
I actually had to source. Yeah, it was hard to find someone to make a solid 250 stone. I didn't want a core because I was so worried about cores and they break and stuff like that.
Right.
So I found a guy in West Virginia named AJ Fisher. There's this concrete that's actually more, dense and it's stronger than the regular stuff that we usually make stones out of, but it is less. It weighs less per volume, and it's sitting there waiting to get picked up. It's like 254 pounds, I think, and it's just
Wow.
completely solid. Yeah,
That's
dude, I'm
awesome.
super stoked for it.
Heck yeah. Um, and Hannah's like, is she the favorite to win that event? Cause I mean, I watched her on Clash on the record breakers for the Stones. I mean, like, how many reps do you think we're gonna see someone get with 254?
Yeah. Dude, I'm dying to know that answer. So we figured the 350 stone is a certain percentage of the 105's world record stone. I took the same percentage for women, and this is the number I got.
Cool. That's
Um,
interesting. That's
so
smart.
yeah, like I because people are like, how'd you figure that number? Like, it was actually a very mathematical, logical way I figured it. And is Hannah the favorite? I mean, I'm not betting against her, we'll put it that way.
Yeah.
But I would not be shocked to see 10 plus reps, just like we have in the same range for the men. Um, I wouldn't be shocked at all.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I'm so excited to see how the show shakes out.
Yeah.
Um, So Cody Abel's going to be on the mic with Anthony Furman. He's a buddy of mine.
Yeah,
I'm just excited to watch it. So, like I said before, make sure you guys go and purchase the stream and support it because it's going back to the athletes, for their payday. So it's just going to
yeah,
help.
that's something I
Um,
try to tell people is please do, because that's, it's not only just this show. This show is kind of like the proof of concept for people, right? If we can if we can come together as a community and really get behind it and it goes well, that opens the door to have a conversation for all of the athletes. Um, and I think that's just like the best case scenario is that we start to be able to incorporate revenue share of live streams into athlete pay. And it's, same thing with boxers, like UFC fighters and stuff. Like that's where a lot of their money comes from, is the
right.
revenue share, not of the pay-per-view buys. And I want to see a world in which, all the athletes can have a real chance to make some like considerable amounts of money. And that's where it's going to come from, because the more streams people buy, then the more sponsors we can get, the more big, like high level sponsors will come in, because it's like more views, more geographically diverse. So the more countries that come in also matters, with integrity. You can't go sit there in your house in Texas and say you're living in Belarus, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah.
Like, but like with integrity, we can say we got to 10 countries last weekend. I'd love to see more than 10 countries come in, and we're just starting to build and build and build. And then a little behind the scenes, people don't realize how stuff works, is like, if I can go to the live stream, or I can go to a sponsor, like a company, and say, we will guarantee at the least 1,000 people are going to show up for this. Like they're going to buy it. Then that's a very simple conversation. Okay, if I guarantee this is what we get. Anything on top of my guarantee means X more. But we just have to have a guarantee that is a guarantee. I can't say I guarantee 12 people. Obviously, we've had way more than 12, but you get my point.
Right, right.
Yeah, and that's what we're going for, man. I want it to help. I would love to see us at Clash be able to do this for all of our shows, and then other organizations also do it, and then
Right.
it just spread that way.
Absolutely. That's all a good point. We were able to, throw in a little bit of money into the prize pool with
Yeah,
our
man.
pre-workout and everything. And if anyone's interested in supporting it, make sure you guys go to, I said a little bit on the prequel to when you were on, but it's available 580barbell.com. You guys hit the pre-workout tab. We've got 2 flavors of pre-workout. If anyone has any questions about it, feel free to DM us and I'm happy to answer any questions. Order ship out same day. So you'll have your pre-workout race right nice
Yeah,
and quick within 2 days. So
yeah, dude, that's
I'm
that's one of the
happy. Like I was talking to Cody about how to get involved, and I'm glad he put me in touch with you. So hope to work with you guys more in the future.
dude. Yeah, man, I'd love it. I love the idea, and like we were talking a little bit, I was like, at first, I'm like, I don't see what's in it for Josh, and I don't want to take it. Like, I don't want you to
Yeah,
do
yeah,
something
yeah.
and not do thing. And now I can kind of see it. And the thing I've told everybody, because I've asked a few people, hey, buy this. People rave about it. And then the thing in the supplement world is fulfillment on orders is just so unpredictable. And the fact that you can get it out in a predictable amount of time, same day, people can actually get something in their hands within a couple of days of buying it, is just, I could see myself ordering this on squat day, and then 2 days later on my overhead press day, I already have it. So I
Yeah,
have it by my next workout, and it's freaking awesome.
yeah, yeah. We've been able to we ship everything priority, so it's guaranteed within 48 hours. Minus like we're shipping out of Pittsburgh, so like if you live in California, it may take a third day, but usually we have it within 48 hours. So it's
Yeah, and
awesome. The
that's
response
better
has been
than local.
huge. The response and support has been huge. So it was such a great decision for us, and I hope
Yeah,
to
no, you
do
guys
it more.
deserve it, man. It's an awesome idea. Like I would have never thought of it. And big props to Cody for mentioning it and making the connection.
Yeah. We had a guy come through that wanted to support Clash and support the athletes. I got to give him a shout out. A guy named, I don't know how much you heard before you cut out, but a guy named Justin, or wait, let me get his name right again. I had it right the first time.
Right,
His name
Jason,
is
right?
Justin Bulware, and he owns Hub City Barbell Club in Mississippi. Which shout out to Mississippi because they're like out of every state besides Pennsylvania where we are, I think they're our number 2 state for horsepower. Like very strange thing, but they are. But anyway, he wanted to support the ladies this weekend. He came through, bought 10 tubs of pre-workout. Just like that's someone, just a gym owner, just trying to get back and help out. So shout out to people like that. It's awesome.
Definitely, man. Yeah, definitely. That's big props to him, dude. That's awesome. That's just, someone that's just doing their part to help better the sport. And like you said, man, give back.
Right.
That's what makes it all. That's what makes it all come together, man. Is when people stop worrying what's in it for me.
Right.
What's in it for everybody is what it's going to take to elevate this thing to the next level for sure.
Right. Well, man, you need to get some sleep. I appreciate you coming on. And everyone, seriously, tune into Clash of the 91's, follow Clash, and all the people involved in it. They'll be posting everything this weekend, and yeah. So, anything else before we go?
Yeah, I mean, I think that pretty much covers everything. I appreciate you definitely having me on, and yeah, I mean, I say you guys offer to donate to the prize pool directly if we can get you guys enough sales. It's awesome, man. Super appreciated. They all appreciate it. They're super stoked for it.
Oh, yeah.
And I definitely love the opportunity to work together like that again in the future for sure.
Absolutely. We'll be talking more about it, but thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see everyone else next week.
Yeah, sounds good, man. Thanks.